The world of vintage Heuer is a wonderful and varied one. There's good reason the brand can lay claim to numerous truly iconic watches after all. For this year's LVMH Watch Week, TAG Heuer is paying tribute to yet another beloved model from the past, rendered in the fabulous glassbox shape introduced last year. The TAG Heuer Carrera Dato and its dial layout will be immediately recognizable to lovers of all things Heuer, originating in the 1968 Dato 45 Cyclops, with this modern teal reinterpretation making it seem like a natural evolution of the original. As I'm sure you'll have noticed, TAG Heuer has seemingly been making their way through their own back catalogue, reissuing or graciously nodding to numerous legendary models. The journey began with the Carrera 160 years, continued with the Carrera 60th, and last year's Glassbox, and now find itself at its next stop, the Dato. Now to the topic at hand, and the most noticeable feature, if you can call it that. I say that because this odd layout came as a solution to a problem that Heuer themselves created. The 1966 Dato and its 12 o'clock date window were great in theory, also inspiring last year's black dial Glassbox, but it made reading the date window difficult when the chronograph was not in operation. To resolve this, Heuer moved the date to 9 o'clock, balancing it with a single 45-minute register, resulting in the 1968 reference 3147. In the Glassbox Dato, the dial gets the curvaceous rehoard that sits just below the wildly domed sapphire, before dipping down into a circularly grained central portion. The choices TAG Heuer made aren't too far from the original, though the Dato's chrono subregister scale has been shrunken down, both in terms of its timing capabilities and actual size. Once again bordered by a concave surround, the inner of the 30-minute totalizer is finished in a large azurage pattern. The recognizable ingot-like indices are still present, though they've been given extra dimension with a bolder profile and by intersecting them with the flange. I also really like that TAG Heuer didn't bother with truncated indices at 3 at 9 o'clock, rather just including a small lume pip with each, just like with the original. Finally, I'm so glad that the dial isn't too crowded with text. Any more than what's present would just be too much. Having said that, I do wish the new Dato came with a heritage Heuer logo instead, just like some of the other Carrera retro reissues. By now, you'll likely be familiar with the Carrera shape. You've got those same faceted, strut-like lugs that finish at a point, seamlessly flowing into the sides of the case. The wide polished top surface slims into a thin strip, separating the brushed side and dome crystal, matched by the polished pushers and crown. The diameter stays at 39mm, with a lug-to-lug of 46 and a fairly significant thickness of 13.86mm. The one surprising inclusion for me was the very dressy black alligator leather strap, complete with a folding double pusher buckle. Even though they're not the most outwardly sporty Carreras in TAG Heuer's lineup, the previous Glassbox models all went with sportier options, be it perforated Bradley styles or sailcloth like with the Skipper. In any case, the 20mm lugs will leave you with a wealth of aftermarket options. Although it carries a new TH20-07 designation, the movement is merely a new variant of the one that debuted in the Glassbox, the 07 denoting the new date layout. Essentially, this is a revised version of the brand's Heuer 02 column wheel chronograph, now equipped with bidirectional winding and an improved ATR power reserve. Along with the new naming scheme, it also follows the decoration guidelines set out by TAG Heuer's latest releases. It's quite conservative of a design with no real flourishes, barring some Côte de Genève, though pleasant looking overall. Having picked the Glassbox Skipper as one of my favorite releases of last year, you'd be hardly surprised to find out that I'd like the Dato as well. I'd much rather see TAG Heuer experiment with new reinterpretations of vintage Carrera models than just rehash the same novelty in different colors. And how about that color, hey? The teal is just stunning. Granted, I don't think this watch, and more importantly its layout, lend themselves to a modern reinterpretation as well as, say, the Skipper. To try and explain what I mean, imagine the scenario of this watch coming out as it is, with no backstory. I think it would be way too quirky for a more general watch audience. Having said that, with a great story and plenty of love for its predecessor, the Glassbox Dato has more than a good reason to exist. The TAG Heuer Carrera Chronograph Dato is available now, priced at 9,500 Australian dollars. What do you think about this new release though? And which other vintage Heuer do you think is ripe for a reissue? Let us know in the comments, leave a like while you're there, and subscribe for more videos like this one.